Minh City in 1976 in honor of the famous revolutionary leader. Compared to the two main cities to the north, Hanoi and Hue, Saigon is relatively young, a mere 300 years old. Though Saigon is looking forward to the future and preparing to step into the 21st century, it still remains much as it was. The buildings which surround the churches and pagodas stand in sharp contrast against the paddy fields of the city's outskirts. Here, the hustle and bustle never stops. Bicycles and motorcycles, taxi bikes and cars all crowd the streets by day and night. One of Saigon's beautiful attractions is its wealth of colonial architecture, a reminder of France's 95-year colonization. A perfect example of colonial architecture can be found in the Hôtel de Ville, which bears a close resemblance to the Hôtel de Ville in Paris. Today, it's the seat of the city's Popular Party. The Central Post Office, an enormous metallic structure covered in plate glass, was built by Gustave Eiffel at the end of the 19th century. Adorned with a huge portrait of former President Ho Chi Minh, it remains a link between the people of Saigon and members of their family who've moved abroad. Some of the streets have kept their French names: Pasteur, Calmette, Yersin. The Hotel Majestic, bordered by Dong Khoi Street on one side, Old Catinat Street on the other, and facing the Saigon River. Along with the Continental Hotel, it's one of the oldest palaces dating from the colonial period. The much-feared French Sûreté headquarters was just across the road from the Continental. On Lam Son Square, at the intersection of Dong Khoi Street and Le Loire Boulevard, stands the impressive Grand Theatre. Its resemblance to the Petit Palais in Paris is a reminder of the influence of the French architects who designed it. The Notre Dame Cathedral is another of the monuments in Saigon which is typically French. Built in the neo-Roman style, its two brick bell towers topped by silver spires soar to a height of nearly 150 feet. The Cha Tam Church, with its pale yellow and white walls, dates from the beginning of the century. A statue of Francis Xavier Tam Asan, who was once Saigon's apostolic curate, stands at the top of the bell tower. The church's interior is simple in design. The more recent American presence can still be felt, and certain buildings have since become of historical interest. The Palace of the Reunification symbolizes the fall of Saigon. Its fence was breached by a North Vietnamese tank on April 30th, 1975. The former U.S. Embassy, which was built in the 60s, is protected by a honeycombed bulletproof concrete wall. Completely surrounded by barbed wire, it's one of the symbolic monuments to the end of the Vietnam War and the hurried departure of the American troops. More traces of the war can still be found in Cu Chi, a rural area about 20 miles from Saigon. At Ben Duoc, you can visit the memorial honoring those who gave their lives in Cu Chi.
Đền được xây dựng để tưởng nhớ công ơn to lớn của đồng bào và chiến sĩ đã chiến đấu hy sinh trên vùng đất Sài Gòn chợ lớn Gia Định. Trong một vết bậy dày 0,25 mét, nặng 30 người.
Cu Chi is also known as the Triangle of Fire, or the Iron Triangle, because of the intense bombardment and the dogged resistance of the Viet Cong against the American attacks. In order to overcome this resistance, the Americans dropped tons of defoliants and napalm on the rice paddies from their B-52s. This area was transformed into a veritable desert. At one time, the Iron Triangle was blasted by up to 3,600 bombs a day. Under this deadly downpour, the Viet Cong lost over 10,000 men.
美国将领要恐惧教导，不见野共游击队在哪里，而到处都是游击。
The tunnels around Cu Chi are today one of the most frequently visited sites which remain from the Vietnam War.
到处都是战壕，到处都有作战组，地下又是求责的坑道。
This enormous network of underground tunnels was dug by hand by the Vietnamese resistance in an effort to protect themselves from the US attack. The entrances to these tunnels were hidden by vegetation, and there were numerous invisible trapdoors. The tunnels were originally dug during the 40s by the Viet Minh during their battle with France, but they were lengthened from 10 miles to some 120 miles during the war with the United States. About 2 feet wide and 3 feet high, they were dug some 10 feet underground, though certain levels were as deep as 23 feet. They were built to withstand a 50-ton tank passing overhead, or a direct hit from a 10-ton bomb. Near the tunnels, visitors can also see exhibitions of trophies from the Vietnam War. Helicopters, bombs, landmines, and all kinds of American weapons have been carefully arranged so that people should never forget.